Hey polish fans, it's Caroline again and welcome to another video here at Lemming Lacquer. In today's video, we are doing something a little bit different. If you're a regular on my channel, you'll know that usually I do nail polish content, but I do periodically do some random hauls that I have, and this time we are doing Dossier. And if you are new to the channel specifically to see the Dossier, hi, my name is Caroline. Normally you would hear me talking about nail polish, but today I have a really exciting and rather large Dossier haul. Dossier is a perfume company. I believe they are based out of France, and they do a lot of cover perfumes or dupe perfumes, and I was really excited to see what options they had. I've recently gotten back into perfumes and colognes and all of that stuff, so I wanted to give them a try. I've been seeing a lot of videos on YouTube about them, so a lot of people have already tried basically their entire catalog of scents, but I'm excited to see how I like them. I know I am kind of particular about my scents. I'm not overly floral. I really only like floral scents when they are mixed in with spice notes or a sweet mix, so we'll see how some of these line up. I tried to pick scent notes that I usually like, but we'll see how it goes. Buying blind is always a risk, but I got quite a lot during their Black Friday sale. They were having like a 45% off plus an additional 10% off if you bought their monthly subscription, which I believe is $29.99 a month or $29.95, something along those lines. And then on top of that, you could use a coupon code if you got one from another YouTube channel or something like that. If I remember to do that, I'll try to list some down below, at least the ones that I know of. So I have eight boxes to share with you guys. So this is how each perfume comes, each scent. They are in their individual little boxes, and each one comes with their little scent card and their scent notes. Oh good, and I am happy to say that at least the bottle, the first one that I'm looking at, does still have the scent notes on the bottle. I was noticing in a couple of videos that I was watching, the scent notes had been taken off, and I was kind of bummed about that because I like the idea of it being on there so that you can see it. So we're just going to dig right in. It looks like the first one that I unboxed is Ambery Sage. So that is how the bottle looks. Nice and simple. Now, the nice feature about the bottle is it does have that magnetic lid, good quality as well. So for Ambery Sage, the top notes are bitter almond, sage, lavender, with middle notes of leathery notes, orris, vanilla, and base notes of amber, blonde woods, and tonka bean. So this one is inspired by a Tom Ford scent, and it is basically effing fabulous. I'm not going to say the main word on my channel. The other thing that I thought is neat about this is it does give you the concentration. So this is an 18% concentration. And yeah, let's go ahead and see how this one smells. I am unfamiliar with how the Tom Ford smells, but I'm very curious about those scent notes. Interesting. Okay, so I am not really sure what I am smelling. It might be the sage and maybe the leathery notes, possibly the orris. I actually don't know what orris is or what it's supposed to smell like. I want to say I smell a soapy quality to this that could be that lavender. I'm not really smelling the vanilla or any sweetness necessarily that I would associate with a vanilla. This one I would call a unisex scent, which I believe is what this is. Like, women's fragrances are one color, unisex fragrances are another, and then the masculine scents are, I believe, in a gray or a black font. And I could definitely see why this one would be classified right there in the middle. It's not really sweet enough or floral enough for a strictly feminine scent, and it's not overly cologne smelling either. So this is interesting. I'm not in love with it right off the bat, but I also am just smelling it right off of the little card here. I sprayed one spray. Yeah, I don't know. This one I'm not in love with yet. I'll see how it smells once it's on. That is one of the interesting things about scent in general, is how it can smell completely different on one person than it does another. But yeah, it's not overly floral, which is one of the things I was slightly worried about just because it does have that lavender, and I wasn't really sure how that would translate into the scent. So yeah. That was Ambery Sage. And I think what we'll do is we'll go ahead and smell all of them, and then I will rank them. All right, next up, Ambery Saffron. So same little packaging. I think this is another one that is in their unisex line. And this one has top notes of saffron, orange blossom, middle notes of jasmine, plum, and cedarwood, and then base notes of oak moss, fir balsam, and amber. This one is inspired by, I am not sure how to pronounce that one. It is French, I believe, but the scent is Baccarat Rouge 540. That is a perfume that you see all over the place, or at least I've seen all over the internet. People seem to be going gaga over that one. And this is also an 18% concentration. So let's see how this one smells. Ooh, okay. This one I already like a little bit more. Oh, this is nice. Okay, so it's still in the dry down phase, so I still am getting a little bit of that layer of alcohol, but I cannot pinpoint what else I'm smelling that is so fabulous, but this one is really nice. Maybe it's the balsam. Maybe I'm smelling the base notes more. Huh. But I'm liking this one already heads and tails more than I liked Ambery Sage. This one smells lovely. It's kind of hard to describe. It's not really sweet. It's not really overly woody. It's not very floral. It does have jasmine in it, but it's not as noticeable as the lavender was in the other one. Wow. Yeah, so far I would say this is in the lead. I'm gonna actually try this one on my skin to see how I might like it. I'm kind of getting the orange blossom. So yeah, for this, I'm actually surprised at how subtle of a smell this one is. I was expecting this one to be a little bit more intense, and it's definitely a light fragrance. I think I'm getting that sort of an orange blossom saffron now. Maybe a subtle like sweet note that might be that plum. And then I definitely think I'm getting the balsam. Yeah, this is a tough one to describe. It's not super woodsy, it's not super floral, it's definitely not very sweet, but there is a sweet quality to this that was not in Ambery Sage. But in any case, that one was Ambery Saffron. That so far is in the lead for my favorite. All right, next up, we have Ambery Cedarwood. Okay, so this one is in the women's line of fragrance. This is also an 18% concentration. This one is a dupe or inspired by the Thierry Mugler's Alien Eau de Parfum. And this one has top notes of mandarin, cardamom, and orange blossom, with middle notes of jasmine, sambac, and cedarwood, and base notes of heliotrope flower, amber, and vanilla. So I'm expecting this one to be a little bit more on the sweet side with that vanilla. Hopefully it's not super floral with all of the flowers in it. So let's go ahead and see how this one smells. Okay, so right off the bat, this one is definitely more of a feminine scent. And I think that is because of the flowers in it. I'm not really getting any of the cardamom. I was kind of hoping that that might add like a spiced nature to this. But there is kind of a powderiness to this that I'm not really sure where that's coming from. Maybe the heliotrope flower might do that. I'm not really sure. Yeah, I would say at least on the card, this one is not my favorite either. I think it's because of those floral notes. To my nose anyways, they are much more pronounced than the other two. We'll have to see how the dry down is on my skin, if that meshes any better, if some of the vanilla might start to come out. I was hoping some of that cedarwood would make itself known a little bit more, because I'm not really getting any of that woodsy scent, although it is kind of growing on me. So maybe this is another that I do at least need to try on my skin. And one of the things that I did really like that I didn't mention at the beginning about the brand, about Dossier, is they do have a really nice return policy. So if you do buy a fragrance and you just really don't like it, they do have a return policy. You can return it up to, I believe, 30 days. So that was one of the big reasons why I was so willing to place a nice big order, is I felt like I had that nice cushion to fall back on in case I just totally blew out on these and did not like any of them, because like I said at the beginning, I am kind of fickle on some of my scents, but I was really excited to be able to try all of these. And I would say so far this is taking maybe a toss-up of second or third place. Not my favorite, but not awful. Like I said, it's just a little bit more of the florals that are more pronounced than I would prefer. But that one was Ambery Cedarwood. All right. Next up, whoops, this box got a little bit messed up. perfume decided to take a little bit of a ride on this one, but this one is Ambery Vanilla. Can we see a trend here? I got a lot of the ambery scents that they had. This is another in their women's line of fragrances, and this one has top notes of mandarin, pear, pink pepper, and licorice, with middle notes of jasmine and orange blossom, and base notes of cedarwood, patchouli, vanilla, and coffee. And this one is a 15% concentration, and this was inspired by YSL's Black Opium. The original of this is one that I have been wanting to try for a while. I really am excited about the coffee notes. Very intrigued by the licorice. Hopefully that's not super in your face. I did try to do my best to preemptively research all of these scents, look at reviews and all of that, but scent is one of those things. It's very personal. Each person's nose is different. Each person's body chemistry is different. So not only is it up to your taste preferences, but also how it reacts to your body chemistry. But this, like I said, is one that a lot of people do really like, but it does seem to be one of those scents that people either love or hate. So hopefully I fall into the love category with this one. But let's go ahead and smell this one on the card. So for this one, I would say I definitely like it. I can't really pinpoint any of the scent notes though, which I find rather fascinating. Maybe the longer it dries down, I'm starting to smell the base notes, maybe the cedarwood and the patchouli. I should say too, while we're talking scents, patchouli is one of those scents that I have sort of a love-hate relationship with, because when you smell it all on its own, I do not like it. I am not a fan. However, it is one of those scent notes that I often see towards the bottom or maybe even the middle of scents that I actually end up really enjoying. Now, the way I prefer it is like this, very complexly mixed with sweet notes, with spicy notes, with woods, and apparently coffee. So that's how I like my patchouli. I don't want it to be front and center, punching you in the face with the sort of earthy funk, kind of. I mean, I don't know if that's a proper way to describe it, but I usually don't like it when it's front and center. But in this, okay, there we go. Now that it's dried down, I'm smelling that vanilla for sure. Okay, I think this is gonna be a top pick. Yeah, this is nice. Yeah, this is how I like to see florals, because I can definitely tell that there is a jasmine or some sort of a light floral in here, but it is not front and center. That, again, as far as my taste preferences go, I do not prefer my florals to punch you in the nose either. I really like it when they are background players, when you have other complex scents to play with your nose. So this one is really nice. Again, it's not overly sweet, but it is one of the sweetest, I would say, of the ones that I've unboxed so far. I wouldn't necessarily be able to pinpoint that this has coffee in it or licorice, but it is a beautifully complex smell. This is really nice. Yeah, I think this is going to be one of my favorites. So that was Ambery Vanilla. Hitting it out of the park with that one. That is a lovely fragrance. All right, next up, we are passing the halfway mark now. Actually, this one also did a little bit of a playing in the box, but this one is Spicy Orchid. And this one is another unisex scent. Again, I think we can see a bit of a pattern here. I picked a lot of unisex fragrances. This one has top notes of cinnamon, pink pepper, and mandarin, with middle notes of, I don't know if that's supposed to be ylang-ylang or just lang-lang. I'm really not sure how to pronounce that one. Orchid and plum, with base notes of sandalwood, vanilla, incense, and patchouli. So again, we do have patchouli in here, but again, it's on the base note section. This is another at an 18% concentration, and this is inspired by another Tom Ford fragrance, this time Black Orchid. So right off the bat, as I'm sniffing it in the bottle, I smell patchouli right off the bat, or maybe that's the incense. Could be the incense. I'm going to give it a little bit of time to dry down on the card. But yeah, so far this one is definitely pretty strong on those base notes, that patchouli and incense. Yep, it's still pretty strong. I think it is that incense. It's kind of that smoky. Okay, now some of the floral aspects are coming out. That might be the orchid and the lang-lang or ylang-ylang. Let me know how I'm supposed to pronounce that. So on this one, I would say, so far I'm not really smelling any spice notes like I was expecting from the cinnamon. I'm definitely definitely smelling the incense. That, for my nose, is maintaining a pretty prominent profile, but it is softening. So this one might be something that softens on my skin, hopefully, because that incense scent is quite strong. Yeah, this is one that I'm definitely going to have to give a shot on my arm and see how I like it, because as it's softening and drying down, I'm definitely getting a softer quality to it. I might be starting to smell those middle notes of the orchid and the plum, maybe a little bit of a sweet note with the vanilla. So yeah, this could dry down, come into a range that I might enjoy. So that incense is finally dying down. I don't know why it was so strong, considering it is supposed to be a base note, but at least to my nose, that was the first thing I smelled. Very interesting. This is another one that I would agree with the description. It is a unisex scent. It doesn't have anything that's overly sweet, overly feminine, or overly masculine. Yeah, okay. The more this dries down, the more I'm liking it. So this one, I would say, actually falls somewhere in the middle so far. So that one is Spicy Orchid. All right, we've got 3 more to go. A lot of my boxes seem to be having escape issues from their little packaging. The next one that we're going to look at is Fruity Honey, another unisex scent. This one is an inspiration of a Jo Malone fragrance, Nectarine Blossom and Honey, and it is another 18% concentration. The notes of this one are top notes of black currant and green leaves, with middle notes of honey and nectarine, and base notes of peach and vetiver. So this one I thought was interesting. I'm a little iffy on if I'm gonna like this one, but I thought I'd give it a shot. I did watch a few videos where people did really like how this one smelled. Interesting. Okay, so this one definitely has a fresh quality to it. Maybe that's those green leaves up front. And it does have a little bit of a sweetness that I'm smelling right off the bat. That could be maybe the honey. There's definitely a fruity quality to this as well, but for my nose, this does stay in that fresh range. Yeah, so far I would say I think I might like this one. I'll have to see how the peach notes play with my skin chemistry, because I don't know that I've ever tried peach in a fragrance before. But yeah, it's nice. It's more of an everyday fragrance, I would say, than a few of the others that I picked. All in all, I'd say this one is pretty nice. Again, I'll have to see how it ends up playing with my skin chemistry, but this is a rather nice, fresh scent. So that one was Fruity Honey. All right, next up, we have one of their women's fragrances. This one is Powdery Hawthorne. This is another Tom Ford inspired by, and this one is Metallic. I'm not actually sure. There's Olivia, that's one of my little kitties. And this one has an 18% concentration with top notes of aldehydes, neroli and orange blossom, middle notes of hawthorn heliotrope flower, and base notes of vanilla, ambrette, and Peru balsam. So this is one that was sort of a shot in the dark, because this one does have a lot of floral notes in it, but it does have vanilla, and it does have that balsam note. So I'm hoping that I like this one, that it has a nice balance between the florals and the other notes. So right off the bat, this is definitely powdery. The more it dries down, the more powdery it gets. So I'm not really sure what to expect as far as a scent goes for the hawthorn. It's possible that that is another floral fragrance. I'm not actually too sure. So far, I'm not really getting much of the vanilla as far as a sweet note. So this is definitely one of the more floral fragrances of the ones that I picked, which I was a little bit concerned about. And it is very powdery. Obviously, it says that in the name, so it's not like I wasn't expecting that. But I would say for myself, I'm not a fan. Yeah, this one's probably going back. I don't think I really care for the amount of powderiness that this one is. That floral powder scent is about all I can describe this as so far. Now that could change on my skin. I just would need to decide if this is one that I feel like experimenting with. I could, but we'll have to see. So far I think this is going to be down there at the bottom of my favorites, but that one was Powdery Hawthorne. All right, one more another one that did a little escape artistry here. We are closing it out with another unisex fragrance in Woody Chestnut. This is another 18% concentration, and this one is inspired by, I'm again not sure how to pronounce some of these names, Maison Margiela, Replica by the Fireplace. This is an EDT version. And this one has top notes of pink pepper, orange blossom, and cloves, with middle notes of chestnut, guaiac wood, and cade wood, with base notes of vanilla, Peru balsam, and cedar wood. And yeah, right off the bat, this has a smoky, woodsy quality to it. Whoa, yeah. This smells like sitting by a fireplace. Yeah, that's actually a very apt description. The Replica by the Fireplace. Oh yeah, all the woods. I'm not really, so far anyways, getting much of this, like the pink pepper and the cloves, but there is something in here, maybe it's the vanilla, that is keeping this from being too, like I just went out into a woodshed. Yep, this definitely has all the woods in it for sure. So I'm very excited to actually try this one. I'm curious if those other notes, the top notes of the pink pepper and orange blossom and the cloves, will come out to play on my skin. But yeah, I'm liking the smoky woodsy quality to this one. So this one is a keeper. So that last one was Woody Chestnut. All right, so now I'm going to quickly rank them. All right, so this is how we're ranking them, from least favorite up at the top corner to most favorite down here at the bottom. In last place, we have Powdery Hawthorne. That one was by far the most floral and powdery. Given the name, I'm not too surprised, but I did want to try that because at least a couple of videos that I watched, people did really like how that one smelled. Next up is Ambery Sage. That was the Tom Ford effing fabulous replica. That one, the lavender on that one was super strong. It just not quite hitting it out of the park for me on the card. I will have to try that one on my skin though. Next up, we had Ambery Cedarwood. That was another one that just had a little bit too much forward florals, although this one I think has the potential to be one that I might like on my skin. I'm going to have to see how those florals play. Next up was Fruity Honey. That was the only real fresh scent I would say that I got of the bunch. Now we're getting into the top four. Next up we had Spicy Orchid. That was the Tom Ford Black Orchid dupe. So that one is getting into ones that I really enjoy. Next up for our top three, we have Woody Chestnut, Ambery Saffron, and my favorite of the haul is Ambery Vanilla. That was our YSL Black Opium dupe. So all in all, I'm actually really pleased with a lot of these. I would say I definitely need to try all of these on my skin, maybe not Powdery Hawthorne though, and see how I like them. If you have any favorites from Dossier, let me know down below which ones might fit into my scent profile preferences, if you have any suggestions. If you're new to the channel, think about hitting that little subscribe button down below if you like nail polish content. As always, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Hopefully you enjoyed this little detour to the scent side of things, and hopefully you have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you in that next one.